Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at this right here. This is the Blackhawk Hawkhook. I'm going to be doing a pretty short review, well, short as I can considering this thing is pretty unique. But actually, if you look at it closed, it doesn't really look like what you would expect when you open the blade. I mean, this is not your typical pocket knife, so we're going to be going over each of the little tools that this has on it. And for quick size comparison, here's a Victorinox sack. You can see they're virtually the same size in terms of length, open and closed. The Hawkhook is significantly thicker though. Obviously, this A-lock sack is very thin, so works very well for pocket carry, but this one's not all that bad either. Sorry about that. So let's start with the blade, so to speak. This is essentially a folding multi-tool. I'm going to start by pointing out each of the tools. You got a flathead screwdriver here, a glass breaker up here, a seatbelt cutter, serrated blade, and a bottle opener. The whole tool, or at least the blade part, is made out of Aus 8. It's a good steel for this kind of application. I don't really think you need a S30V or anything, especially because a couple of the tasks are prying tasks, so you don't really want to use a really hard steel that might break. You want something a little softer, and to be honest, you're not going to be using a seatbelt cutter that often, so Aus 8, you know, the edge retention might not be perfect, but you're probably not going to be using it that much, so you can sharpen it up when you need to. Start with the flathead screwdriver. It works pretty well. I've used it on a couple occasions. I do also think you can use it as a pry bar within limits. Obviously, this is a folding design, so you're going to be putting a lot of stress on the frame of the knife. But it does work well as a flathead screwdriver, and it might work well as a pry bar. But you can see from the profile, the shape is really not that great for a pry bar. So, you know, it's convenient that they put it there. I don't mind it. Up here is the glass breaker, which I think is one of the stupidest ideas I've ever heard, to be honest. The idea with this tool is that you take the tool in your hand, you bang it on the glass like that, and you're supposed to break it. That might be possible if you're trying to break a window pane or something like that, something really thin, but if you're trying to get into a car, it's not going to work. You're going to need something like a dedicated glass breaker for that. So I think you can also try to use that as a Phillips head screwdriver when in case of emergencies. It might work for that. I haven't really tried it, but that seems like a more practical use and a more likely use than a glass breaker. So here you can see the seatbelt cutter. I've used it on paper and it shaves paper, so I have no doubt that it will cut through some sort of cordage pretty easily. Pretty good design. Got the nice hook and you just cut through it. It's ground on both sides, so it comes pretty sharp. The whole blade is sandblasted or bead blasted. Not my favorite finish, but for this kind of tool, it's probably not really going to affect anything. Even if you got a little bit of rust, probably really won't affect the performance of the tool. Here you have a serrated edge. This works pretty well. It's ground pretty steep, so it's not the best edge, but it's serrated, so it'll hold its edge longer than plain edge would in Aus 8. Not the best grind, but this is not really a precision cutting tool. This is a emergency down and dirty tool, so you don't really need the sharpest of edges. You don't need to be super precise with your cuts, so this serrated edge, you know, is pretty aggressive, and it would take a chunk out of anything you use it on. Last is the bottle opener. I've only used this once, but pretty good design, good shape. I know that when you're using it, it's against the lock, but the lock is plenty strong. Let's get on to the handle. Your handle is a FRN on one side and stainless steel on the other, and it's a frame lock. When I got this knife, it first reminded me of the Boker Subcom Warcom. It's a very similar look, and You know, you do have that stainless steel frame lock on one side. Lockup is very good. You know, solid as can be. The other side, you got that FRN and with a full stainless steel liner. Hasn't been hollowed out, so it makes it a very strong tool. I do think you can put a decent amount of stress left or right, and it won't budge or anything. Ergonomics is okay. It's obviously just a square, so it's not really custom fit to the human hand, but you can fit 3 fingers on it when you're putting your thumb on the thumb ramp, or thumb jimping here. Or if you want to choke up, you can put 4 fingers and work with it that way. Lock bar is easy to disengage, and it's pretty thick. It's not too thin, so I do feel like it'd be decently strong. Got an interesting clip here. It's like a triple, I don't know what you call it, but like a 3, there's 2 holes here, so it's like 3 prongs of metal. It works. The black painting on it is kind of hokey though. It does come off really easily, as you can see right here. You can't put the clip anywhere else, unfortunately, so it's sad. Flow through design. You could take it apart with some Torx bits. I haven't tried to. The previous owner, I'm not the first owner of this, put on a little bit of paracord at the end for a little extraction device on the tool. I think that's a pretty cool addition, not really necessary. Overall, the Blackhawk Hawkhook is a very unique design. I don't really think you're going to see anything like this ever. Also, it might look like, just another point, it might look like this can be used as a wave. It can't really be used as a wave. It's just too far from the pivot. It's kind of awkward because if you had the wave up here, it only has to travel a short distance. But if you put the wave here, it has to travel a long distance in respect to the pivot. And combined with the fact that it's a very light, short tool, doesn't really have the momentum necessary to flick it all the way up, and usually when you try to wave it. If you're looking for a tool like this, definitely get it. I think it's the only one of its kind. It's definitely well made, and it'd be a good value. It's only about 25 bucks, so that's my review of the Blackhawk Hawkhook. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.